Shall I take that away?
Please.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Yes, please.
I love it, Nick.
Welcome to WatchMojo UK, and today we're looking at the worst things made on the various celebrity editions of Bake Off. Comic Relief, Sport Relief, Stand Up to Cancer, we're looking at it all.
They're in the right order, too.
I'm so surprised. The surprise in her voice.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 20. Custard Slices.
This is going to be very tight. I don't have a choice, I don't think.
I mean, it's not pastry, but it's something.
If there's one thing that always causes problems, it's custard. If you don't keep stirring, you'll accidentally make scrambled eggs, as many hapless celebrities have discovered in the past. For this technical challenge, they needed to make custard slices with thick custard and fondant icing. Very tricky.
I'm just going to try and make them look pretty-ish.
I'm doing it.
Who doesn't love this? Oh, delicious.
It's all gone wrong.
The challenge is that the custard has to be thick enough to slice, and none of them managed it. As well as the custard going wrong, so did the pastry, let alone the fondant that was left until the last minute.
My favourite bake when I was a child, actually. But, wow, okay.
Paul and Prue didn't have high hopes, and yet they were still disappointed.
It's raw. Definitely not a good custard slice.
Number 19. David Mitchell's Pavlova.
I didn't come into this thinking, oh, the sieving will be a nightmare. You know, I thought difficult things in cooking were like when you flambe stuff. Not when, no, sieving something into a bowl, you'll wish you were dead.
King of relatability, David Mitchell did better on Bake Off than his own low expectations of himself would have you believe. That is, he made things that were edible, which was all he was really aiming for. His shortbread wasn't completely appalling, and his quail egg pork pies were a commendable effort, but his pavlova was baffling.
I'm hoping to make a pavlova sort of in the shape of a rocket or spaceship.
He decided to make it into a spaceship and make it gunmetal grey, but it fell apart, literally.
Look at that, that's terrible. Nasty. There's no way anyone is going to see that.
The colour was strange, but not really the issue, because his pavlova came out a burnt mess. It didn't really look like a spaceship at all in the end. But, credit to him, it actually tasted great, according to Paul and Mary.
You've certainly got the marshmallow centre to it.
It melts in the mouth. The cream is beautifully whipped.
But I think leave out the grey colouring.
Number 18. Chocolate soufflés.
Oh, God, I've forgotten the flour. Damn.
Oh, I forgot the flour. Oh, I've lost.
Another dastardly technical, this group of celebs was asked to make a plate of chocolate soufflés. Soufflés are notoriously difficult puddings to perfect, and it's easy to see why. First, two of them forgot to add the flour to the mix, which never bodes well for baking.
How does that come out?
But the cooking time proved to be the real issue, as it often does, with the celebs' arrival times staggered so that they couldn't copy each other. All the soufflés, other than ruby waxes, collapsed into goo when they were plated up, with Paul and Prue shocked at just how badly the celebs had done.
If you trip, I'll kill you.
Compliments of the chef.
There's every chance they still tasted all right, though.
Don't eat it all at once.
Wow, this is a disaster.
Number 17. Victoria Coren Mitchell's Bloody Mary Muffins.
I do all the cooking at home. My husband is grateful to have food put in front of him. He doesn't demand that it also resembles the Taj Mahal.
From one Mitchell to another, this time it was Victoria's turn in the tent. Did she do any better than David? Well, it's hard to say, but she was certainly more adventurous, even compared to the grey pavlova.
I'm basically just putting in the things you put in a Bloody Mary. How much Tabasco is that? 3 spoons? I'll put a bit more. When in doubt, add more baking powder, Tabasco, put it in.
Infamously, she decided that for the American-style muffins challenge, she was going to make Bloody Mary-flavoured muffins. Yes, you heard us right. Savoury muffins full of tomato ketchup, vodka and Tabasco, just like the age-old hangover cure.
When in doubt, add more baking powder, Tabasco, put it in. And obviously, vodka.
They ended up turning a horrendous shade of bright orange and were, of course, disgusting. garnished with lemon and celery.
I think they're such fun. They're a beautiful colour, but for my taste, I'm not really enjoying them.
She finished the episode with a cake with salt-flavoured icing. We're not sure we'd accept a dinner invitation from the Mitchells at this rate.
I've come across some salt.
Oh no.
It sort of hits you.
Number 16. KSI's Cherry Lattice Pie. Again, the custard caused trouble, with both Catherine Ryan and Stacey Dooley having difficulty making theirs.
Did you make custard?
Yeah, I've made custard, yeah.
How'd you
I don't know,
make
I
it?
kind of just did this.
How did you do this?
YouTube star KSI, meanwhile, mastered the custard immediately, shocking his fellow bakers who, remember, aren't supposed to confer with each other. But while the custard worked out for him, the actual pie didn't.
Oh no, it's breaking.
His messy pie broke completely, with all the filling coming out when he flipped it upside down.
JJ, you're a genius.
Oh, my pleasure. Genius, she says.
Good timing, Stacey. He is a genius.
A lot of the other pies were messy too, but none as disastrous as his, which didn't even really resemble a pie at all when he was done with it.
Are you going to serve it like that?
They didn't even taste it in the end because it was so bad, which is a rarity on Bake Off. Number 15, David O'Doherty's Ice Cream Roll.
Bananas are not supposed to go like that. I don't think a banana has ever looked so much like sand before.
He was easily one of the worst bakers ever seen in the tent, with all of his dishes turning into nightmares. He wanted to make a banoffee ice cream roll, which sounds nice enough in principle. Who doesn't like banoffee pie after all?
What makes a basic sponge and what makes a complicated sponge?
I can't tell you. It's a secret. It's been in my family for generations.
Sorry.
But it was one of the rare cases that Prue said it was basically inedible. While trying to cut it, they found that the caramel was solid and the cake was rubbery, with both judges being horrified.
Why is it so hard at the bottom, Paul?
What's that?
I don't know what I'm hitting down the bottom.
I put some books in the bottom of it.
Paul had told him at the beginning that banoffee wasn't the flavour to go with for this signature challenge, but David didn't listen, going for it anyway.
Have you actually tried this?
No.
It's absolutely... it's not edible.
It's nice.
Number 14, Rod Gilbert's Fondant Fancies. They all had a hard time with the fondant fancies in this technical set by Prue. As usual, Rod Gilbert caused chaos, saying that he didn't think it mattered how level his mixture was when he put it in the oven, nor that he measured things properly.
Interesting interpretation of it.
They've all finished. They've all done 9.
Yeah.
So let's start with that one.
Ultimately, it was the fondant that caused the most bother, with none of the bakers helped by Noel Fielding questioning everything they were doing.
Let's move on to this radioactive fondant fancies at the end.
Rod's ended up an extremely vivid shade of yellow, though. It was so bright that it looked barely edible, practically glowing on the table at the end. Prue also called him out for his sponge being uneven, which isn't surprising, given his slapdash methods.
The flavour's okay. If you went like that, it would benefit.
Number 13, Roisin Connaty's Gingerbread.
Don't look at me!
Is it a hurricane?
In this festive edition of Bake Off, Roisin Connaty put together a gingerbread scene, or tried to, at least. It all fell apart, creating a huge mess. Still, sometimes, a bake can look awful, but taste delicious. Unfortunately for Roisin, this wasn't one of those times. It turned out that the gingerbread was so raw that it was inedible, with Paul shocked at how badly she'd done.
The colour's a good though.
Should icing make that noise when it hits the table?
Well, the flavour would be good if it was cooked.
Is it completely raw?
Pretty raw.
He even had to ask whether she'd remembered to turn the oven on, and was amazed that anybody had produced something this bad. As a comedian, though, it's better to fail in a funny way than triumph in a boring one.
It's actually all soft. I think overall it's probably the worst ginger I've ever had.
Wow. I like being first and last, though.
Number 12, Derry Girls Trifles.
What does it start with?
Trifle.
and then custard.
Hang on a minute. It's trifle.
Trifle there.
So it's not the whole thing. You're just putting trifle down at the bottom.
The cast of the hit comedy Derry Girls arrived for this 2019 festive special in what's since become the most chaotic episode of Bake Off ever. First was Saoirse's highly confusing description of what a trifle is, followed up almost immediately by Siobhan not remembering how many gelatine slices she'd put in her mix.
How many leaves of gelatin have you got in there?
She doesn't know.
I don't know.
There were 15 leaves in here.
And
15 leaves?
So we found one, so there's 14 in there.
Oh,
that would set the Thames.
Considering trifle is one of the simpler things people have been asked to make in the tent, it was miraculous that this first challenge caused so much trouble.
So, I grilled it. I don't know how, I think I knocked it with my knee, and I have grilled the sponge.
There was ruined cream, rampant drinking, and Nicola Coughlan had to make 3 sponge cakes when she let one cool and accidentally grilled another. They all tasted all right though.
Oh, that's very fizzy.
Oh no! The cream!
Oh!
Everything was going great until you came.
Number 11. Greg James Rouard. How complicated can a roulade be when it doesn't even have any flour? Well, as Prue explains, it can be tricky to get the texture right, though it's very rare that the flavour of a roulade can be ruined.
Because I've not done a roulade before, I don't know what I'm looking for.
The competition in this episode was always between Fern Brady and Dermot O'Leary, with Greg James and Mel B producing some shocking bakes. But Greg's roulade went badly wrong when it came to assembly.
I've come too far now to ruin this. It's time to roll hard, the roulade. I think it's too soggy.
His big mistake was not letting the roulade cool for long enough after misreading the instructions. Paul and Prue pointed out that he hasn't made a roulade at all because it completely collapsed, and that, actually, it's just a sandwich.
They've got cream all over the top and it should be there for a little bit of decoration. Let's have a look inside. There's a sandwich rather than a swirl.
Number 10. Munya Chihuahua's Ed Sheeran Cake Pops.
Doesn't Ed Sheeran have a song called Imperfect?
For the first signature challenge, they were asked to make cake pops, and comedian Munya Chihuahua chose to make a selection that looked like Ed Sheeran. He said that it's because Ed Sheeran was the easiest person to do, but perhaps not easy enough.
That Ed Sheeran, you see.
It is Ed Sheeran, yes. It's not Stormzy, is it?
No, no.
While they looked alright when they were iced and presented, Paul and Prue revealed that they were almost completely raw. Despite the passion fruit flavouring being there, even Prue couldn't hide how she felt about the cake.
What you see in front of you are the varying emotions of Ed Sheeran.
They do look like Ed Sheeran.
Don't they?
Munya attempted the classic move of trying to trick Paul into giving him a handshake for his raw cakes, but Paul, of course, didn't fall for it.
It's a bit soggy.
Soggy?
It's raw.
No.
It is raw.
Well, look, I can do better next round. Let's shake on it.
Number 9. Tom Allen's car horn cake.
It did end up with a nicely tempered shine, I would say. Well, you see, you would know about that if you were on a professional bakery show.
You'd think that while hosting Bake Off the Professionals, Tom Allen may have learned a thing or two, but that apparently wasn't the case.
It's frozen to the bottom. Would it be possible for Prue and Paul to judge it in the freezer?
The rivalry was strong between Tom and former classmate and fellow comedian Rob Beckett, who turned out to be a dab hand in the kitchen. All of Tom's bakes turned out relatively badly, but none as much as his bugbear cake that was meant to look like a car horn.
This is your...
That's my sugar work, thank you.
That is delicious.
The cake turned out to be delicious, but his sugar was a total mess, looking like a pile of broken glass on top of a cake. You have to credit him for trying something so ambitious, though. None of the other celebrities had.
Absolutely delicious. All the textures with the jam and buttercream. It's fantastic.
Well, I know.
Number 8. Judy loves Jason Donovan.
Have you practiced this?
I'm going to go with, you know, the feeling.
You're going to bake with your heart.
They were asked to make showstoppers based on their celebrity crushes, and Judy Love chose Jason Donovan, in character as Scott Robinson during his Neighbours days. It was an abject failure, but easily one of the most spectacular attempted bakes we've ever seen.
Jason's head's fallen.
Oh, Judy.
Oh, you never open it when it's not cooked.
With no neck of which to speak, it looked more like if you decorated an egg to look like Jason Donovan, rather than a cake. and nobody could contain themselves. The entire tent broke down in laughter at this very sad little man. But at least it didn't taste appalling when they cut into it. We wonder if Jason's seen this touching tribute.
It's strong orange.
I think your sponge is slightly over-baked, but it is baked properly. I mean, ultimately, it's a very edible cake.
Number 7. Big Nasty's Dog Biscuits.
I don't want them too thin. Look at that, look at that. Ooh.
You wouldn't have thought someone could mess up using a cookie cutter, but then you've probably never asked Big Nasty.
Right now, I want to know, what are your biscuits? And what shape are they?
I did them as doggy biscuits.
Doggy biscuits.
Yeah, I'm usually in the doghouse.
The notoriously chaotic rapper appeared on this edition of Stand Up to Cancer Bake Off, trying to make dog-shaped biscuits, but not knowing that you have to roll the pastry out flat first.
A little bit of flour on the top, because otherwise it'll stick to your rolling pin. Just do it nice and gently. Not whoa. Too hard.
I've got heavy hands.
They ended up not looking like dogs at all, unsurprisingly, and he tried to rescue it by making them look instead like dog turds, blagging his way through. Paul and Prue weren't convinced by his attempt to rescue the biscuits, and neither were we.
It's dog poop. The artistic version of this is please pick up after your animals.
And it goes on the dog.
Yeah, because don't want to roll around in it.
Number 6. Alan Carr's Rainbow Cake.
I'm just going to have to stick it on. Oh, I'm happy with that. I've never cried on telly before.
For their showstoppers, they were making a rainbow cake to represent their dreams, and things started off badly for Alan Carr. He accidentally got cling film in the mixing bowl while making his sponge for a start, and it was only downhill from there. His cake was themed more literally around the children's TV show Rainbow, including fondant recreations of the characters. It was a complete mess, with his top sponge being so overbaked that it resembled a substance even veteran baker Paul had never seen in his life.
You really shouldn't be able to snap a sponge.
You're just being picky now.
It actually crumbles. I've never seen that before.
But you can't overstate the entertainment value of watching him have a breakdown in the tent during the arduous assembly process. Number 5. Alex Horne's Skate Park.
I always judge things, would I pay money for it? And I would.
Oh. Yeah, I would as well.
Another showstopper. You'd have been forgiven for having high hopes from Alex Horne, since he did rather well in the signature and the technical. That wasn't the case though. He decided to do a savoury bake themed around a skate park. Yes, you heard us right. Savoury, full of sausage, mash, potatoes and gravy.
It's going to be eaten cold though, isn't it?
Do you mind?
Yeah.
You do mind?
We'll think what it's going to taste like when it's cold.
Paul predicted that it would taste disgusting, and indeed it did. As usual, Prue tried to be nice and compliment Alex's ideas, but neither of them thought it was tasty.
I'm not going to look at your face. I do think it's witty and it's fun, but it ain't gastronomy.
Paul looked absolutely horrified that this is what he was having to judge. Still, anything to raise money for cancer research. Number 4. Oven-baked buttercream. Have you ever heard of putting buttercream in the oven? No? Well, that's because you're not supposed to.
Are you going to confess?
Yeah, it's a complete rescue job.
Come on, tell them
What?
about the buttercream. Oh.
Tell us about the buttercream. There's obviously a secret.
But apparently, Spandau Ballet's Martin Kemp forgot about that, confessing to Prue and Paul that, while trying to make cupcakes, he accidentally put the buttercream in the oven and cooked it.
You cooked the buttercream?
Yeah, by mistake.
Put it in the oven.
They were horrified, but tried the muffins regardless. Hot, roasted buttercream didn't do Martin any favours, though. The buns were ruined. But, credit to them, they tried them, though even Prue couldn't think of anything generous to say. Paul compared the cupcakes to biscuits, which is probably the last thing you want to hear about something that's meant to be light and fluffy.
That is
You're
really...
enjoying it, aren't you?
No,
I can see that.
I wish I could say I was enjoying it.
Number 3. Nick Hewer's 6s and 7s.
That is a showstopper.
He was good on countdown, but not in the kitchen, producing one of the most baffling showstoppers we've ever seen. They had to make a self-portrait out of choux pastry, and Nick Hewer took a more abstract approach. First, he ruined the pastry completely by adding all the flour instead of just 10 ounces of it, and then accidentally made some scrambled eggs.
It wasn't easy to get there. I went through 23 eggs in all, and I'm never going to do it again.
He tried to blag his way out of it in the end, claiming to Prue and Paul that this was a completely new technique for making choux pastry that hadn't yet arrived in Britain from the avant-garde lands of the continent.
It's the new choux. It's the rage in Milan. It's sweeping Italy. It's on its way here. You're the first to see it.
It was a commendable effort from someone who'd never baked before, though. Croquembouche isn't known for being easy to make.
I think the Yorkshire puddings, I'd have that with a bit of beef any day. Crispy. But it's not what we wanted.
Number 2, James Acaster's flapjacks.
Good morning.
Hello.
Right, James, tell us all about your flapjacks. What are you doing?
Making Bakewell flapjacks.
Certainly the most legendary celeb moment in Bake Off's history, James Acaster's flapjack struggles became a viral sensation. The only thing saving him from the top spot is that his flapjack wasn't completely inedible, unlike some other celebrity bakes.
It looks a bit wet.
Oh yeah, that's because it's not baked yet. I can explain this to you. Before it goes in the oven, it's often a lot soggier.
It was close though, despite Paul trying to give him some hints that his mixture was too wet, that James completely ignored. When it came time to taste the flapjack, Paul generously took a slice near the end where it was better cooked, so that he had something to compliment James on. The lesson's clear. If Paul Hollywood's giving you baking tips, you should probably listen.
The reason why I cut the end bit is because actually where it's browned and caramelised with the butter, it's absolutely gorgeous.
Number 1, Jamie Laing's banana loaf cake.
What has gone on?
Well, I think it's like art, right? Some people would love that. Other people, I mean...
Have you ever seen a cake with this consistency? Made in Chelsea's Jamie Laing produced this baffling artefact in the first run of Stand Up to Cancer episodes. Paul put the failure down to Laing's mixing technique, since he just mixed everything together all at once and ruined it all.
Oh, wow, that looks good. Wow.
This is going to be mighty impressive, I promise you now.
Oh, my Lord, that's... What? Wow. It looks like a pork pie.
With no bubbles or airiness whatsoever, the cake was a solid lump of banana-flavoured gunk, though Jamie tried to claim it was edible for a moment.
Go on, I'll have a little bit.
Oh, yes. Not more than that, you sure? You might not get the flavour.
I was only going to eat half of that.
That's delicious.
Wow.
That is disgusting. That is so disgusting.
Absolutely vile.
Prue bravely tried a piece and had to go to the bin to spit it out. In so many episodes where celebrities don the aprons, this disaster was the most spectacular of all.
That has got to be the worst cake that's ever been baked in the tent. Ever.
I know.
That's impressive.
Let us know your worst baking disaster in the comments.
Oh, well done. Never seen that.
Yeah.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo UK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.